to Noel's World of Whiskey, and today we are going to chase after another small distillery. In fact, I'm going to be probably focusing more on some small distilleries, even back here in Canada, but this one's not in Canada. This is in Scotland. Now, this has become a lot more popular, and I was very much aware of this distillery quite a few years back there. Actually, it was Ralphie that did a review and also some of the ratings on this. They were all over the place, but boy, the good ratings were incredibly high. The bad ratings were incredibly low. And we can explain that later on. But it's a fascinating distillery, steeped very deep in history, and there's a good story that goes along with it. I've tried to condense it. You will get a chance to see it. So I'm going to try to be brief at the beginning here, and I will show you Edradour, at one time the smallest distillery in Scotland, and we'll try to get a focus on that there. Edradour Distillery. Always been something that I've wanted to try, but was not available in Canada. And even though I knew all about it, the issue was that we basically couldn't get it. And if I can't get it, it sort of goes to sleep for a while. And I keep reading about it, and there it is. Now, this is natural color. They were taken over by Signatory, a well-respected bottling company, Andrew Symington, keeper of the quack. And he basically turned this distillery around from when he purchased it, I think it was 2002, from Pernod Ricard. And previous to that, boy, what a history. But anyways, this is natural color. Kind of dark, isn't it? So, Edradour. There's a lot of mixed reviews on Edradour, and through the years they had issues with batches, because it's an old style distillery that hasn't changed much in the last 185 years. Everything is done by hand. The equipment is ancient. Some of the oldest, well, the mash tun, 150, 120 years old. The Morton refrigerator, I don't know, 80 plus years old, probably the last one in use in the world. You know, old washbacks, etc. There has been some changes. Some of the history is missing out some of the more recent changes to it. So at one time, Edradour could have said it was the smallest distillery in Scotland. Today, we've got all these new distilleries. There's 40 plus new distilleries, you know, since, what, 2005? You know, with all these new distilleries, we are getting a lot of micro distilleries being built. Daft Mill, I mean, that goes back to, you know, to 2005, 2006. We've got Wolfburn. We got Strathern. We got the Isle of Harris. We got the Isle of Raasay. There, Burno Benny. There's all these new distilleries that have been built, the smaller ones. I'm not talking about the Holyrood's, you know, Bonington and that, but I'm talking, or we look at maybe even Annandale. That's you know, reviving some of the old distilleries, and some of that is what is going on, trying to revive defunct distilleries, Brara. But again, we are looking at probably something like a Daft Mill as being smaller in production. You know, I'm even looking at Kilcoman over in Islay. That I'm pretty sure their production is now that this distillery has actually increased its production. It's probably got smaller production, but they are similar too, because they're both farm distilleries. But anyways, I could keep rambling on about this. What we will say is that where they used to call themselves, and they were proud of it, the smallest distillery in Scotland, they changed the name then to the smallest traditional distillery in Scotland, and now they call themselves Scotland's Little Gem. So there you are. So basically, I could keep rambling on. I am not going to, because I have done a history on this. And because there is, you know, I haven't tried this before, and my understanding is it should, even at 10 years old, At 40%, it should sit in the glass. I've read enough reviews on this through the years. I am going to open it up, and we are going to have it sit in the glass. Some of the reviewers have it sitting in the glass overnight. I don't think we're going to do that. but we can also go back to it at a later date if for some reason we find it not quite up to the numbers that I am seeing some of the reviewers give it, and also some of the lower numbers that I've seen in the past on it. But remember, a lot of the low numbers probably go back to the days prior to Andrew Symington and signatories. So, but let's open this baby up and let's give it a pour. And I am using the Trudeau glass because I want to get blasted with the nose. Okay, and that's what this is good for. And by the way, I am not sponsored by Trudeau. I do not have any sponsorships, so basically when I do something like this, it's my personal opinion. That nose is better than a Glencairn. The two of them are identical when it comes to palate. I use Glencairns probably more than I use this, but when I'm chasing after a nose, and usually it's the other way around. It's when I'm having a little struggle with the nose, I'll use this. So let's take a peek at this. We'll look for our legs. So we're going to let this sit for 15-20 minutes, and that's of course some of the advice I'm taking from the other reviewers. And we'll watch this short clip on the history of Edradour, and we will see you when you come back. Enjoy. The Edradour Distillery is deeply steeped in history and has been legally producing the water of life, Ushgaba, since 1825, 2 years after the Excise Act was introduced. It was started by a cooperative of farmers using their surplus grain and could lay claim to being the smallest legal distillery in Scotland. Edradour has survived the tough times when many other distilleries didn't, perhaps due to its small size. It has adapted to the changes in the industry and ownership. It remained associated with the original group until 1933, when it was sold to the famous blender William Whiteley, who had the mafia boss Frank Costello as his U.S. sales rep. 5 years later, Costello's mafia associate Irvin Haim had ownership of Edradour, which lasted until Haim died in 1976. Pernod Ricard took over in 1982, but ended up selling Edrington in 2002 for £5.5 million to Andrew Symington, the owner of Signatory, the independent bottling company. Two icons, Andrew Symington and Charles MacLean, are enjoying a tasty dram of Edradour. Andrew Symington also holds the prestigious Keeper of the Quaich. Symington coaxed Ian Henderson to come out of retirement, seen here with Charlie MacLean. He had 38 years in the industry with 14 different distilleries. He'd previously been managing Laphroaig Distillery. The 113-year-old 4,500-litre cast-iron mash tun is filled with a ton of barley grist each day. The first mash is 67 degrees centigrade. The second mash is 82 degrees. It then gets cooled down going through the 70-year-old Morton refrigerator, the last of its kind in the industry. The third wash at 85 degrees is saved for the next mash. 6,500 liters of wash go into the 2 Oregon pine washbacks with 25 kilos of yeast, and the fermentation is over 40 hours. The 8.5% ABV beer goes into a 4,200-liter wash still and is distilled to a 23% low wine. The 23% low wine goes to the 2,200-liter spirit still, and the new make spirit is 70% ABV. Edradour stills are short and small compared to other distilleries, and this contributes to the robust and heavy nature of the spirit. Like the other old equipment at Edradour, they use worm tubs instead of condensers, which are thought to help contribute to the spirit's unique character.
Historically, they were noted for a non-peated sherry-finished whiskey, but now they are producing Balakan, a heavily peated version of Edradour at 50 ppm. For such a small distillery, they do one of the most extensive varieties of wine cask finishing in the industry. Edradour might be one of the smallest Scotch distilleries, but it has one of the busiest visitor centres in Scotland, at over 100,000 visitors per year. Legendary Scottish musician and songwriter Dougie MacLean, OBE, is showing off Edradour's Jimmy Moon guitar, made from an oak whiskey barrel. He was also presented his own personal bottle of Edradour Caledonian from Andrew Symington. Edradour is located in the Highlands next to Pitlochry, Perthshire. It is 70 miles north of Edinburgh, or an hour-and-a-half drive on Highway M90 and A9.
Well, welcome back. What a colorful history. Let's get into it, and let's see what this nose is all about. So, the nose. Well, the impact of sherry. That's what I'm going to say. Hitting me like a Mack truck. Yeah, boy, I gonna say a bit of cidery stuff going on, apple cider or pear cider maybe, but sherry surrounding that. A little mustiness, even some leather notes. It's barn leather. Getting some barn leather, you know. If you've been around horses and you've been around the barn, you know what barn and leather, when you mix it together you get barn leather. Barn leather. Some said there were some rancio notes. I'm not getting them. I am getting a wee bit of the mustiness. But it's sherry driven. It's quite a powerful sherry blast. Berries all around me. And some floral. It's a nose you can keep going at. Boy, 40 ABV and a nose like this. Wow. In the background, I'm getting a little bit of something savory. And now some spicy notes. And I can go on and on and on with this. This is something I might have to go back at a second time, because this review will get stretched. But I'm going to say a very interesting nose for 40 ABV. You know, I pulled out a, just in case, I pulled out another interesting nose. Craigenmore, 40 ABV. And I don't chase after 40 ABVs, but if there is nothing else available, sometimes like with the Craigenmore there was nothing else available, and with the Edradour there's nothing else available, you go after it, and every once in a while you get surprised. The difference between these two is small distilleries, both of them, old, traditional. This is owned by Diageo, Signatory. So small company, growing, and a monster, Diageo. But similar, very similar. Powerful nose for 40 ABV. Anyways, we are going to go after the palate. Solange. Whoa, I just got a bit of cognac, maybe even rum, before I was going for the palate. Let's try that again. Solange. Wow. A sherry bomb. I'm letting it kind of float around in the mouth here. certainly on the in the back and center of the tongue there, I got an impact of something I've never tasted before, but it's sherry driven. This is a sherry bomb. I can't believe it's 40 ABV. And we have, when I had the nose for the cognac and the rum, you get almost like a Balvenie Caribbean. It's got that rum, but then again, it's got a little bit of that cognac, like one of the Glenlivets I have, but more pronounced. Those are mellow compared to this. This blasts you, and I've got some sweet, sour, slightly bitter notes. Nothing overpowering. Nothing like the reviews I was reading. So this dram is enticing. It's something you want to explore. No fear of exploring this. There's nothing nasty going on here. Just a lot of different stuff that I was expecting something different. I've read enough reviews on this, but you don't know until you actually have it on the palate. So coating the mouth, and I'm still not getting the rancio notes, but I am getting some funkiness to it, almost some Springbank stuff, maybe even a little bit of that Lagloman. I've got, how do I describe it? It's not supposed to be any peat in here, but something burnt in the background. Maybe we're, fall burning leaves or something. But who knows? It could be charred barrels. They might be prepping the barrels. But it's now fading. I'm not getting the dryness that some talk about. My mouth is watering. I guess I have a different palate. But it is fading right now. So all I can say is with all the stuff you probably already read and reviews and that, the biggest thing that I can maybe contribute is that I'm not getting any of the nasty stuff that I'd read. I am getting more of the stuff that I want to taste and stuff that I wasn't expecting. So how does that sound? Anyways, I'm going to get into the development and as we approach the finish. Let's give it another let's give it another shot there. Okay, development to finish. Slàinte. Thick, oily. There's some overcooked vegetables, and now chocolate, dark chocolate. The sweetness is there, but it's not sweet like some of your Glenlivets or your Macallums, but it's there. A bit of honey, definitely. I would say more of a fireweed honey, and slight bit of a plasticky note there, but in a pleasant way. Somebody said soapy. I have not got the soapiness. That would be maybe more that plasticky stuff I'm tasting. Same with metallic. Not getting that. I think it's all in that little blast of plastic. Probably what other people are getting. They're just describing it different than I am. But it's a good thing. I'm exploring here. Still got a little bit of finish left, so I'm not going to comment on the finish. We're going to play with the development. I have, I worked on commercial fish boats. I was shipwright, so I'm getting a little bit of something I would taste after I've been playing around with pine tar and that kind of stuff. I would taste it in the air. So again, that's connected maybe with that little plasticky thing. It's just on the end of my tongue and that. But the cooked vegetables are still there. Man, it just keeps going on. I'm going to say the finish is shortish medium. That's where the finish is. This is a drink. I could just keep going and eat up lots of lots of review time. I will be going back to this. I'm amazed. 40 ABV. Well, it's time to give it a drop of water. I know I've been warned against it by reviewers not to add water, but I'm going to put a very small amount in. I want to see if a drop or two changes things. So let's grab the water. There, 2 drops. Let's see what 2 drops do. Citrus. Citrusy, orange peels, lemon peels. I'm going to say back to the chocolate. Even a little bit of tobacco notes going on right now. And again, pipe tobacco. I like to always refer to Sale and Amphora cherry blossom tobacco. We've got back to the. We've lost our overcooked vegetables. The plasticky stuff has disappeared. But I am getting a little bit of that cognac and rum. Okay. Like I say, you can keep going. Let's see if we've drowned this with a couple of drops of water. Slàinte. I'm getting licorice. And all sorts, licorice, all sorts. Little of the malt stuff going on. Now the granola is coming through. Granola, cereal. Surprisingly, I didn't drown it. Almost the word delicious. But it brought out some stuff that I wasn't getting before. With the licorice, it's quite pronounced, the licorice right now. It's coating my tongue. You know, I mentioned the drink is rather thick, and I'm going to say you could put a couple of drops, like I did, put a couple of drops of water in. So this is an amazing drink. That's all I can say. Did I get a really good batch? Or is Andrew Symington got more consistency in what's going on today? Remember, this is my first bottle. This is my first experience. I'm not in Scotland like a lot of you are in parts of the world where you could get this. Today, yes, it is now available in Canada. So there are more people that are getting a chance to experience this. The first opportunity I had, I didn't go after it. No, I went after some other stuff, but I could see that it was coming, and I was patient, and I picked up this bottle, didn't pay a lot for it, and I am so happy that I got this bottle, because this bottle I would recommend. So it's 40 ABV. I bought it here in Canada. This is a good buy. I'm recommending it. Excellent purchase. So if you get a chance, what more can I say? Just as I had recommended this guy here, the Craigenmore, I believe the Distiller's Edition. There are a few 40s out there that, in all fairness, we've got to try them. And come on, you know, this is what they're giving us. If they can do it with a 40, as much as we criticize 40, this company here can get away with it. You know, even though Ralphie said it should be a 46, you know. A 43, like they get in the States, because I know that if I was buying this in the States, it'd be a 43. But that's Canadian things. So, anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. This is a recommend, and as far as the score, I'm in the 85-86 area on this. Being, I know, getting a little carried away, maybe with a 40. It's a good whiskey. That's all there is to it, and I'm going to leave it at that. So there you are. That is my review on Edradour 10-year-old. So I am going to ask you to drink wisely, drink intelligently, and do not drink and drive. And until the next time, so long.